Greetings, friends and fellow cigar box guitar enthusiasts. Welcome to part 3 of the Bible box 3-string cigar box guitar build. So last night this thing kind of soaked up all of the extra virgin olive oil. And I think I'm just going to leave this alone. This thing looks awesome. So today we're going to put the pickup in, wire up the electronics, put the bridge on, string it up, throw a little jam. So this guitar is going to have some heart. Dum, 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 dum. Literally, what I mean by that is I went ahead and glued an extra reinforcement piece of purple heart here, just to make it extra super strong right here, so that you got like basically 3 layers. This purple heart wood, which is really strong, and then this glued and clamped, and I might even put some screws through that just to make it like super put bass strings on here. But anyhow, I am ready to solder this thing up now, and this is the piezo that's embedded, and of course the single coil. So I just screwed the back on, and I noticed something. Listen to this resonance, my gosh. And that's just the back. Wow. All right, we had to get creative with the wires because I wanted the switch to be up here on the top, the switch and the volume control. So I got both pickups going to the switch, the output of the switch to the volume control, and then the volume control to the jack, and of course I do have the extra ground wire there. So we got the silver corners on, the hinge in place, everything is screwed down nice and tight. Very resonant box. I did want to point out one problem, and it's a very subtle problem, but this just goes to show you, no matter how much planning and preparation you do, you're still going to run into something. So you remember when I took apart this box and put it back together, how tight the tolerances were? Well, I didn't keep in mind underneath where the saddle goes, that embedded piezo, I put the business card on top of that, and so that lifted this box up just the thickness of a business card. Well, that translates to the little gap right here. So even though I smashed it as tight as I could, I still have that little gap, and that little gap is the same thickness of the business card. So that's one little tiny little oversight. I thought, oh, dang it, so close, so close. I thought, take it all apart and sand that part down to get it all flat, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm just gonna have to live with the fact that there's a little gap right there. So I think what I'll do is I'll put a strap button right there and just kind of disguise that. All right, we are strung up and tuned up. E, B, E. And these strings are still stretching. What I like to do is I like to take the string and hold it by itself and then just suspend the weight of the guitar and shake it back and forth. I do the same for all the strings, and I can still feel those strings stretching. I've never had one of these break ever. And even the little skinny strings that'll work too. All right, so a couple things I wanted to point out. Notice all the silver highlights. I got silver corners, silver hinge, silver strap button. I'm screwed in at the 4 corners, and I also have these 3 screws here and an extra screw right there that holds the top down. And of course I do have the 2 screws in the back. Notice how I do have the inside of the guitar painted black, so that nice contrast there in the sound hole. And also, in addition to this being painted black, I do have this pickup here just screwed directly into this cross beam there. So let's plug this thing in. All right, so I am plugged directly into the Vox AC15, and everything is flat. There's no effects, no nothing. So the first setting is the piezo. second sound here is the piezo and the single coil. And then the last sound is just the single coil. Hear all that static? I think it's coming from the guitar, but it's not. Listen. It's still coming from the amp, so it's just line circuit static. So this is really quiet. Anyhow, so what's a Bible box if you can't play Amazing Grace? All right, it looks like we're going to have a shootout between the Roland Micro Cube and the Vox AC30. Here are the settings on the Micro Cube. So first, the piezo. Piezo and single. And then, of course, just the single. So I like the single and the piezo. So that's it for the Bible box. I hope you enjoyed this 3-part video series. And I will leave you with a little blues outro. All right, that's it until next time. I will see you around.